things.
Welcome back to the channel. Last week you saw us fabricate this custom roll bar and spare tire mount. We're gonna be pulling that out for paint. Before we do that, we're gonna be going back up here. We're gonna be making a shock hoop brace to support between our shocks. And also, we've been reading the comments and we know you guys think that this winch is not supported enough. So right now we're gonna be making up some gussets. Okay, so we got our gussets all welded in. Try to keep them nice and level, looking the same on each side. Hopefully this will help with cantilevering out this way, some downward force in case the winch is being pulled at an angle from the front. Left to right, we're super strong. We got this plate in the middle, 2 solid bars, and they're all welded to the frame.
All right, we got our roll cage onto the truck. She's all coated up. Next step is we're gonna get these sweet KC lights mounted. Sean's already got his holes drilled in. He's gonna be trying to fish his wires through this pipe, man. I don't know about you, but that sounds tricky. I'm gonna get him mounted and let him wire them up. Well, there you have it, our roll cage in its full glory. So we got our 6 KC lights mounted up on top, our wide beam lights, our driver lights, and then our spotlights. So Joey's out on the trail. He could come out here and move these things around and be able to see the deers that he hits. The last thing we gotta do is wire up the lights and weld the down bars to the frame. But before we get into that work, we're gonna talk about this week's sponsor. Avalon King sent us over a full Armor Shield 9 ceramic coat kit to apply to the truck. It's got everything you need here, your applicator, your ceramic coating, you get the whole 9. We're gonna be applying the ceramic coat from Avalon King to the bed and the cab, but before we get into that, we're gonna start off with the hood. Armor Shield 9 is the highest consumer grade ceramic coating on the market. And whether you're protecting your painted build in progress from metal flakes inside your shop, or your ride is all finished and you're facing those harsh conditions of the road, Avalon King's latest advances in nanotechnology keep that top coat safe. Got the Armor Shield 9 applied to the hood. Not only was it super easy and quick, it looks awesome. It's definitely gonna make it so Joey, when he's out running through the hills or washing it, it's definitely gonna add a lot of protection to this paint. So we're gonna go ahead and jump onto the rest of the truck. The small nanoparticles in Armor Shield 9 seal pores in the surface of your paint to create a UV-resistant, hydrophobic, glass-like coat that can protect your paint against extreme heat, scratches, and even graffiti. And right now, Avalon King has a special deal for our viewers. Follow the link in the description below and get a buy one, get one free deal on the Armor Shield 9 kit. Not only are we looking good, but we're also protected by the ceramic coating. We want to thank Avalon King for sponsoring this part of the episode. If you want to grab yourself a kit, hit that link in the description of the video. Get yourself a buy one, get one free. Now let's get back to work. We got this plate that's sitting nice and flush on our bedside. We got a plate to sandwich our bolts through there. And then underneath here, we have to mark this leg here, cut it, and then set it back down. And then we're gonna get a nice weld inside of the tubing and then also on the top side. So it'll have a double weld on it. So that should be pretty strong. Once we get that all welded up, then Sean's gonna be ready to pass his wires through. We're gonna get some lights running.
While Sean is running the wiring from our cab to our lights, the time has come to make our hoop supports. We wanted to do this a while ago, but the die that we needed for the material to bend was on back order. But now we got it, so now we're gonna make it. We're gonna build off of the top of here, come up at an angle, go across the top of the motor, back down, and catch the other hoop. This will give us support, so each hoop will be pushing on each other through this bar. Also, they're gonna be quick disconnect. Here we go. We got these little guys. So on our diagonal tube coming up, we're gonna make it into 2 parts, and our tubing will slip over this piece and get welded to it, and this will be quick connect. So we got these 2 Allens. So then this piece can split apart, and that way, if you ever need to take anything off the top of the motor, the whole bar will be able to be disconnected. It's actually kind of a good thing we waited till now, because before our master cylinder wasn't in here, and if we had started back here, we'd run into some problems. Here I made a little template using 1/8 inch steel weld wire. I have this socket here, and the socket is 1 1/4 inches tall. I made this to represent our center line. If we have 1.75 pipe, that would represent a 3/8 gap between the bottom of our pipe and the top of our engine cover here. I think that's a good space. We don't want to go any smaller. So I'm going to use this template, get my angles, get my overall length. So we got our center section hoop bar here with our angles. They dive right into our 2 hoops, which is great. And next we're going to start making our standoffs to connect them, tie all this in. So we got these little pieces here. They'll end up slipping in here. Probably want to have it right about here. That way there's some tubing coming off the bottom, and then the spot that the coping can go through before it hits the actual piece. We got it all mounted in here. Nice, coming across the top of the motor, lands on the other shock hoop. Gap is nice and even, parallel overall. It'll be great. And now when the force of this wheel comes up, it's gonna push directly down into the other shock hoop, and they can't sandwich together and snap.
Sean in the house continuing to wire. We didn't do a whole lot of time lapse or talking about the wiring of this truck because it's kind of boring, but here he is wiring in these AC lights. So he had his wiring through the tube all the way down. So this will get loomed and we'll get tied onto these bolts here with D-clips and then go down through this hole. Yeah, I think this looks pretty clean. Plus, you know, you're gonna have to have some lead on these wires so you could move and turn your lights when you need to. Nice job, Sean.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, so all this extra stuff drawing power on our batteries on the truck, we did end up going with the dual battery setup. You know, we have our winch, which is gonna be drawing power, those huge KC lights. So we are running 2 excess power batteries. These are the D3400s. We've been using all these batteries on all of our builds lately. These are our go-to at this point. They look really sharp and they work great. So let's get these puppies in. So our boy Sean's got the 6 KC lights all wired up. We got our switch block out of the truck. This is obviously temporary because we're just gonna try to see if they work right. So we got the lights in the shop. Shut off for mood, for the ambience. Let's get this cha-ching sign off too. All right, Sean, what you got, bro? Ooh, 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 look at those things. Come on, man. Now if he's outside on the trails and it gets dark, he could put his lights on. So this thing's got all the relays. It's all one unit. Looks nice, works nice. The buttons have a nice little feel to it. So you got six options here. So we're only using 3. So Joey's got a little extra room for some wiggles if he wants. So those are the wide beam on the outside. Those are the spots. And those are the driving. All right, driving lights off. Wide beams on. Look at that. There's the deer.
No, sir.
All right, Joey. So you got plenty of lighting going on there, buddy.
All right, today we finally got our drive shafts back for the LT4 Swap K10. Once again, we've got these from Drive Shaft Power. Our buddy Richard made sure these were designed and manufactured exactly the way we needed them. Huge 1550 U-joints. Super heavy duty. Got a big beefy double cardone U-joint here, and we have some splicer U-joint straps that we're going to use to attach them to the pinion yokes. So I'm going to get these things put up inside the truck right now. Now that the drive shafts are installed, I'm gonna hop back in the cab and finish off some AC stuff. Got our closeout panel that's gonna be going on the interior. So if you remember, we have our bulkhead for our air conditioning sticking out right here. So we need this block off plate on the interior to close out the big gap on the inside. And I'm gonna get this guy installed so then I can finally install the HVAC unit, the heater, the evaporator core, and all the motors. All right, now the closeout panel is all set. I'm gonna put the unit in for the last time. All right, so now it's time to mount our WrestleMod Air ECU. That's gonna control our HVAC unit. I'm just gonna make a small bracket just to mount this guy, and I'll mount it to the existing little hole that's way up there. I don't know if you can see it, right close to the end of it, right there. We have a bulkhead that's custom made to allow the heater hoses and refrigerant lines to come out of the side of the cab through the fender. Right now, I've got my crimp tool out, and I'm gonna finish off the rest of these hoses. I've got a handful more to do.
While Andrew's getting the last of his AC lines finalized, we got a little bit of transmission work to do. Finally got our shifter in. This unit has to sit down into the transmission right down there. Problem is, where our stock hole comes up is nowhere near where this needs to land. So I got a mark down here based upon looking underneath. This is about where center is. I'm just gonna drill a little 1/8 pilot hole in there, make sure that it's centered over there, and then use a hole saw of the circumference of this point, and then we'll be able to slip our piece down in there. And very close. Ta-da! There we go. We got the boot on there, semi-bolted in to the trans. I actually was able to shift it into gears. Of course, it's a very short shifter right now, so leverage is not your friend, but it's gonna work out great. I think it puts it in a nice position here. So now that we got our shifter all set up, it works great, we're gonna make a little cover plate to fill that guy in where our original shift assembly was. Took some measurements, we'll go at plasma, just cut out an oval.
All right, so Dave just finished fabbing up this closeout panel for our old shifter hole. We've got the shifter located a little bit further back, so we need to close out that hole. That's all gonna get carpeted over once we start interior installation. We've also finished off mounting the roll bar and also got the lights wired up on top. Thank you, Sean. We've also got the bracing done per everyone's comments in the comments section. Got some more bracing underneath this 17,000 pound winch mount. Also, we've got our cross brace for our shock towers, which was always part of our plan. It just kind of happened a little bit late in the build. We didn't forget about that. It's very critical. So everything you saw us do in this episode was just tying off all the loose ends of all the small projects. We have a lot more larger stuff that we're gonna be moving on to in the next coming episodes, like getting the full interior installed in the truck, brand new bench seat, all new carpet, door cards, brand new dashboard, and then finalizing all the wiring on the interior. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, because very shortly we're gonna be hitting the key for the first time on this Supercharged LT4 K10. So stay tuned.